Hello guys, this is Caesar Creates and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode we are adding our first dinosaur to the Tropical Valley Park. And the first dinosaur that we are creating a habitat for today is the Styracosaurus. I decided to start this park with this one because I knew that I want to have some exciting dinosaur as a first habitat, but I didn't want to add T-Rex just now because I have some other plans for it for the future. And this is how I came up with the Styracosaurus. Also, the Triceratops, which is very similar to this one, was always my favorite dinosaur when I was a child. So as a nod to my childhood, the Styracosaurus was my choice. I also really like a model of Styracosaurus in this game, and I like the color variations because they are really interesting. I especially like the one that I included on the thumbnail of this video. It has those bluish orangey tones, and those colors really go well together, and I think that it looks super natural. I love the horn and the spikes and how the color is like gradually fading towards the end. So yeah, I simply decided that this guy will be a perfect thumbnail for my video. I also like this one that has, green and gray stripes all over its body, but the one with, blue and orange coloration is just the most appealing to me. I knew that I wanted to build something with the bridge for the guests because, as I told you guys the last time, you can actually build bridges in this game or elevated paths from all the construction pieces that we have in game. You don't need an actual path. The guests will walk on everything as long as it's not too steep. So I wanted to play with that a little and to build a bridge over the habitat. So I created this canyon for Styracosauruses. My concept for this habitat was that many years ago there was a lake and it dried out, and now the plants took over it. So as you know, we are building in tropical biome, and I wanted to make it very lush, very green, very overgrown with plants. And this is something that I was going for while building this habitat. Now you can see me creating this gate from rocks. I just thought that it would be cool to add some, entrance to the world of dinosaurs. The guests simply don't see the animals before they cross this gate, this opening in the rocks, so they go through it and suddenly they see those magnificent creatures brought to life. I can already tell you that you'll be seeing me using a lot of rocks during this build. The entire boundaries of this canyon will be made with rocks. Yeah, so there basically will be rocks on top of rocks and on top of rocks. But the rocks in this game are so wonderful and so beautiful and, so easy to put together. They always look good. And the fact that you can scale them and make them any size you want is simply so game-changing, and it makes your life so much easier and makes the whole building process much quicker. Thanks to the scaling options, the rocks even don't seem so repetitive. You can simply use the same piece in different sizes and it still looks like, a different piece. So this helps you to make very unique rock formations. But while building those walls from rocks, I actually discovered that there's an option that you can see on the right in the lower corner. I mean, keep the object scale. I didn't realize that it was there before, and it is so much it just makes your life easier because you can, make a rock very big and then click keep object scale, choose another rock, and it will be the same size. So you don't have to scale it once again. And thanks to this, they have the same height, very similar height, very similar dimensions, and you can just simply, choose the rock you want and put them next to each other and they're a similar size. So making those rocky walls is so much easier thanks to this. I am also in love with those pile of small rocks that we have For me, they make things look very natural and they help to tie up together the look that I was going for. You know, they look a bit like some of the rocks just fell off those rocky walls and stayed there on the ground. You'll see me adding them very soon. Also, I created a little pond for animals, you know, so that they have water source, they can go in the water if they want to. Actually, if we had waterfalls in this game, this would be a perfect spot for a waterfall to add it there. We don't have them now, and I'm not sure if we are getting them in the full version of the game, but my fingers are crossed because I love adding waterfalls to my builds in Planet Zoo. I would miss them very much if they won't be added in the final version of this game. Speaking of the version of the game, actually there was an update to this alpha version released a couple of days ago, and it really solved a lot of issues that I had when I was building in this game. The issues that I told you guys about in my first video. By the way, if you haven't seen that video where I built an entrance for this park, I will put the link down in the description and on the screen. So yeah, now building in this game is much easier for me. And now we can just simply click anywhere to confirm the placement of the piece that you want to add right now. Previously you had to click the check mark every time you wanted to place an item, which was very annoying for me. They also reduced a number of guests that, you know, arrive to your park by 70%, and it really helps with the performance of this game. You can place water now closer to the paths because it was also an issue. And yeah, many great changes were implemented, and I'm super happy for this because I feel like the developers of this game really listened to the community and they made those changes right away when everyone was talking about those issues. As you can see now, I'm changing the terrain a bit. I mean, I'm painting the terrain. At first I wanted to add a sandy beach in here by the water, but the sound somehow feels a bit off for me. It's very white and it creates this very visible contrast between the textures. That's why I decided to go for rock, so that this pond has actually a rocky bottom. But for me it looks just better and more natural. And now I will also be adding those small rocks that I already told you about. And for me they are simply wonderful because they look so natural. And I am just as in love with them as those small rocks in Planet Zoo that were added with Aquatic Pack. I think that those kinds of rocks really make a difference and make your habitats look even better and even more realistic. Speaking of Planet Zoo, the new DLC for this game is dropping very soon. So my next video will be actually a Planet Zoo video, and we will add one animal from the new DLC. I already have certain plans on which animal I want to add. We'll be obviously adding it to the Elm Hill City Zoo, and I have a right candidate that I can suit in the place that is free now. And also we'll be probably postponing the tour that I promised you guys in the Elm Hill City Zoo, because now I'd like to focus on adding some of the Asian new animals to the zoo, but I promise that the tour is coming and it will be out soon. In a second I will start to create a small slope, because I realized that, you know, we don't have any gates right now or any keepers, but they'll need some way to get into these habitats. Also, you know, big dinosaurs, they had to like be moved in this habitat somehow. They didn't magically appear in here. So I created this slope and I added a fence so that in the future when there will be some gates, we'll be able to add one in there. Okay guys, and now I think that it is time for our fun facts. If you saw my previous videos from Elm Hill City Zoo, you most certainly know that every time I add a new animal to the zoo, I try to give you guys some fun facts about this animal. And I want to continue this series on fun facts here in Prehistoric Kingdom. Obviously, the fun facts here will be about dinosaurs. So today's fun facts are actually about Styracosaurus. The Styracosaurus was discovered in 1913 in the Dinosaur Park Formation in Alberta, Canada. The name Styracosaurus means spiked lizard. Styracosaurus had one of the most distinctive skulls of any ceratopsian. It had an extra long frill studded with 4 to 6 horns and a single 2-foot long horn on its nose. The adults of this species weighed around 3 tons, and its body shape mostly resembles modern elephant and rhinoceros. Scientists have found evidence that shows that they might have been a herding dinosaur species. And of course, Styracosaurus was a herbivore and it ate a wide variety of vegetation near the ground. Okay, let's go back to today's build. As you can see, I still work on the rocks, but be patient because in a minute I will start to add plants to this habitat. Just as with rocks, you can actually also scale the plants. And for me this is very useful if you want to go for more realistic builds, because basically you don't have 2 plants which are the same. They're in different sizes and different shapes, and this is how we can basically make 2 palm trees standing next to each other look very different even though they're the same model of palm tree. Just because you can scale them, you can rotate them a bit and suddenly they look completely different. Also, scaling those shrubs and bushes, you can actually make them much bigger, and thanks to this you can spare time for adding tons of them. You can just make one big bush and duplicate it, and it helps you to create this very lush and dense forest. I've put so many plants in between those rocks because I wanted to give it this overgrown feeling that this canyon is very old, so the plants had the chance to grow in between all those rocks. When I place all those trees, I actually am thinking about where they actually will grow in real life. So trees obviously need some water, so by the water there will be some. And I've put the rest of them near the rocks, in the crevices in the rocks. Just because I think that if the seed of the tree will actually fall in this place, the tree will have some chance to grow. Because if it would grow or start to grow in the middle of this habitat, the animals will actually eat the sapling and it wouldn't have any chance to grow out and become a tree. I have a certain issue with light and sun in this game right now. For me, when you play it, it's so bright that it looks weird, to be honest. Right now you simply cannot change the time of the day, and I think that the game is set to, the noon when the sun is very high and shining bright. But in some angles, it is very bright, so that it looks just very strange. And actually, when you go into the screenshot mode in this game, you can change the time of the day in there, and it looks so much better. The colors look better, you get those shadows of trees. The colors are more saturated, not as bright as they are right now, and I'm really waiting for an option to change the time of the day. I hope it will be added soon. When I started to create this canyon, I actually used the roughen terrain tool on the bottom of this canyon so that it isn't just perfectly flat. It has those little height variations, but after releasing the actual dinosaurs to this habitat, I kind of regretted it. Because there is something very weird happening to the dinosaurs right now, at least to the Styracosaurus. They legs and feet do very funny thing while walking on the different height elevations. They bend in very weird angles. You'll be able to see it in the end on the cinematic shots. I'm sure that it will be changed when the game is released, but right now it just looks a bit weird. And what can I say? Those dinosaurs will have to be able to live in this habitat with their bendy legs. Also, when I released those animals, I actually realized that they kind of move in herds. I mean, they move all together. I don't know, maybe it was a coincidence, but I really hope that they actually like herd, like they form those packs and move together to the certain places of the habitat. I mean, it would add so much realism to this game. And this is a thing that I'm kind of missing in Planet Zoo, and I wish it was implemented more to this game. Because you have those animals like antelope, zebras, or even wolves that are those herding animals that in their natural habitats they actually live in huge herds or packs, and they move together because they simply feel safer when they are in a big group, and they eat together, they sleep together, they just, move and do everything in one big herd. And when you put, for example, antelopes in habitat in Planet Zoo, they scatter throughout the whole habitat, and I really wish it was changed. And also, I really have high hopes for this game. I remember that it was implemented in Jurassic World Evolution, and it really worked really well, so I'm sure that it is possible for a computer game to add something like this. As you can see, I finally finished the work with the rocks, and now I moved on to the plants. I mainly used tropical plants, but also some temperate plants to create those dense bushes around this whole canyon. As I said last time, I really like the foliage in this game. I think it looks very good, very natural, and adding all those plants, really, it was a pleasure for me actually, something very calming, and I really enjoyed it. I actually very enjoyed this entire build, and I really like how it has turned out, even though I am very new to this game, and I'm sure that in time my builds will improve. But for the first habitat that I ever built in this game, I think it looks very nice. And also I already have some ideas for future habitats, and I know more or less the order of dinosaurs we'll be adding to this park. And for every of them I will try to build something unique and something different, so that when I'll give you guys a tour at the end, it would be a nice and interesting experience. If seeing actual dinosaurs in park wouldn't be interesting enough. I mean, I would freak out. I was kind of surprised when I saw that in the nursery, you have some basic information right now about every dinosaur. And for the Styracosaurus, the population of this species for the habitat is meant to be from 1 to 4. And I actually thought that those animals lived in bigger herds, but I decided that I would stick to this in-game information, and I actually put 4 of them in this habitat, so that it will be easier for the guests to spot one while they will be crossing this bridge. I am also very excited because I saw somewhere that we will be getting breeding in this game. We didn't have it in Jurassic World Evolution, so this is a really nice addition. I'm really curious how the models of small dinosaurs will look like, if there'll be actual nests and eggs. But I guess we need to be patient and wait a bit more, because this feature will be realized somewhere in the later stage of this game. In a few moments I will start to work on this bridge for the guests. When I was looking for inspiration for this bridge, I actually typed in Google Graphics, modern pedestrian bridge, and I found something that I thought will be very suiting for this habitat. It was a wooden bridge with the barriers that were actually leaning towards the outside of the bridge a bit. It created this really nice and very modern style, which I am going for in this park, because as I told you guys before, I feel like actual park or zoo that would have dinosaurs would have to be extremely modern, because the level of science and technology to make those creatures come back to life must be insane. So this modern style just made sense for me, and this is something that I'm going for. Also, it suits the style of the buildings that we currently have in game. I mean, you cannot change the shapes or the shells of the buildings like toilets, restaurant and this clothing store. So to make it all like tie together to suit to each other, I decided to continue with this very modern style, also with this bridge. I really have zero knowledge about the bridge construction. I know that the profession of actual bridge constructor is very hard, difficult, and you need to learn a lot. The bridge that I was inspired by didn't have any like supporters or beams underneath, but I decided to add them for additional support. I'm not sure if they were needed, but it was something that I felt like I should do, and I did it. Of course, you'll be able to see it all in a minute. Okay guys, this is all that I have for you today. Please enjoy the rest of this speed build. Stay till the end because there will be some cinematic shots of this habitat and you'll be able to see actual dinosaurs and how they look inside this canyon. Spoiler alert, it looks really cool. So definitely stay till the end. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see me build more habitats for dinosaurs in Prehistoric Kingdom, and if you are looking for some inspiration for your prehistoric parks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, and comment down below if you enjoyed my video, if you have any requests for future builds, or if you simply have some recommendations on how I can improve my future videos. Thank you guys for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!